D-Mase,
Who is
Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. A little bit of a late start today due to the Preds Future Stars game. Shout out to Pete Weber, who had a fabulous call on our airwaves earlier today. We are awaiting Willy Donick, who is there at Ford Ice Center. He was there for the Future Stars game, so we'll get his full game breakdown. But D-Mase is here. How we doing, D-Mase?
Hey, we're doing good. I mean, listen, you start work a little bit early. That's me a little bit later. That's cool because we know why.
Nice.
We know the reason, the Futures game and go Gold. Seeming they won, so I'm going to root for Gold because they won.
That's your team.
Yeah.
The gold team is your team.
Yeah, if the blue team had won out, the blue team would have been my team.
I will cheer for the blue team. So we are very partial on this program here.
Yeah, but today is a great day. Today is a great day. So I would love to hear from Willy what he actually saw. Is he encouraged by what he saw? And a lot of these guys will end up, not making, majority of them end up not making, the NHL roster. Mm-hmm. But, whether it be Milwaukee or whatnot, you just get a firsthand look at some of these young prospects and some prospects that we've seen, a bit of already.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Frazier came back for day 2.
We didn't
survive day 1 as the official producer of the Caroline Willy D-Mase program. How are we doing?
Doing very well. After watching the Cardinals blow a terrible, terrible way to lose a game, 9-8. I mean, end up losing 10-9. I'm like, come on. Like, I'm a big Cardinals fan, as you're from St. Louis as well. So like, seeing Jordan Walker, a guy like that, just have so much potential.
Talented.
Yeah, and hit a home run last night, and then just do something like that on the mound. So, very disappointed. I texted Willy earlier. I was like, just text me when the season's over with.
So we are now the Cardinals fans of the program. You and I, Nick, we outnumber the rest of the fans on this program.
Indeed.
But Willy being a Mets fan and us being Cardinals fans, at least just this season, because we have been spoiled baseball fans basically the entirety of our lives. Mm-hmm. Willy, not so much, being a Mets fan. I always compare the Mets, the NFL equivalent is the Jets. Like the Jets just do dumb stuff. And the Jets just jet. Like there are certain things that are just Jets.
They just
decisions.
jet all on themselves.
They do. Awesome. They jet all over themselves. It's the same thing with the Mets. It is like there are certain things that just are Mets things, and I'm like, oh, typical Mets.
It happens to nobody else but the Mets.
But the Mets, they'll spend so much money on that roster, and they still stink. So Willy understands how to be a bad baseball fan, or he's a good baseball fan for a bad team. He gets it. We don't know how to be bad baseball fans.
Not at all.
This might be the next year's MLB draft might be the highest the Cardinals have picked in the entirety of my lifetime. So we're new to this. We don't know how to be bad baseball fans. So we'll learn from Willy. Now that we'll talk behind Willy's back since he's not quite on the program yet. I feel like we're allowed to do that.
Exactly, yeah. That's the things with the Cardinals. Like you said, we've been spoiled for so long. And coming off of a year last year that was just like a childhood memory of Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and Adam Wainwright. Like, all three of them back together. The boys are back in town. And then now to this, you're just like, Ali Marmol, Mozeliak. What are we doing here? And then you just look at the bottom of the Central. I'm like, good Lord. Since 1954, that this hasn't happened. So, but yeah, hey, for Willy, they won last night. The Mets won in the top of the ninth inning, 3-2 count.
Something the Cardinals could learn how to do is maybe win a game here or there.
Yeah, so hopefully we get Willy here soon.
Yeah, we are awaiting Willy Donick. Willy Donick is at Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. We are awaiting Willy Donick, who will break down the Predators Future Stars game. And I kind of want to start out the program with this because you could be a casual Predators fan that you probably don't really care a whole lot about the developmental league. You probably don't care a whole lot about what's going on in Milwaukee. Maybe you're one of those Predators fans that you go to the games and you care about the games here in Nashville. You care about the moves that Barry Trotz is making. And there could be more moves on the horizon. And we'll get into that later on in the show. But you might be thinking to yourself, why do I care about guys who might not be in Nashville for another 3, 4, or 5 years? Why should I care about guys who aren't going to be contributing to the team this year, who might be part of Barry Trotz's 3 to 4 year plan rather than Barry Trotz's 3 to 4 month plan? And that's a fair question. And that's something that I want Willy's thoughts on and to get his insight on. But I think this year, more than any other year, should be a year that Predators fans are looking at it like, hey, maybe we'll check in on what's going on in the developmental league. And not that I would expect anyone, or at least myself, to recognize every single name and to break down every single stat of what's going on in the, the WHL or the junior leagues. But I think that this year is more interesting than maybe the past few years because of the direction that this team is going, because it is a true youth movement. It's not a true rebuild. It is not a true tank. I think that has been made very clear by the moves that Barry Trotz made over the weekend, bringing in Luke Shen, bringing in Gus Nyquist, bringing in Ryan O'Reilly. The contributions from those players on the ice are going to make this team competitive enough. How competitive? I don't know. We'll see. But I think that the message from Barry Trotz and the moves that he has made is truly, like he said, verbatim, it's a 3 to 4 year plan. Some of these guys might be part of that 3 to 4 year plan. Some of these guys might not. Some of these guys might be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the line. I don't know. But I think with the transition that this team is going through, the quote-unquote Trotzification that this team is going through, the young guys matter more now than I think they have in a few years. And I think that's an exciting thing to look forward to for this team. That it's not just, hey, these young guys in 3 to 4 years, we're going to be good. It's we're going to be as competitive as we can be this season, while also placing a big emphasis on the future. And I know that that's an uncomfortable place to be in for a whole lot of Predators fans. But I think that it should make you excited about what's to come for this team.
I think so. I think, because where this Predator team is, where they're headed. Well, not necessarily where they're headed, but where this team is and the ideal or the vision, sort of what Barry and Coach Bruno has for this hockey team. So you have to take a look at. I think it would be, beneficial for fans. Like you said, you don't have to, dig deep down and follow these guys to the WHL and all these other places.
You don't all of a sudden have to be a junior hockey league enthusiast.
Absolutely, but I think
I don't plan on being a junior hockey league enthusiast.
But it would be beneficial from the standpoint of pick out, possibly the first 2 first-round picks, Molendijk and Wood. Look at those guys, and as they're progressing this year, through those leagues, if they're not, on the actual Predator roster, just watch these guys and a couple other guys too, because eventually these are your potential future Nashville Predators that are going to be a part, like you said, Caroline, of Barry's, I'm gonna call it the transition, Barry's transition from the old regime to the new regime, and getting this team to be, faster, be more exciting, score more points, controlling the puck, being on the offensive all the time. These are going to be some of the guys that you're going to see and be rooting for in 3 to 4 years. So, again, you don't have to follow their every move, but every once in a while you want to check these guys out because these are going to be your future stars.
Willy Donick joins the program now. It sounds like you're in a beehive.
Exactly.
Willy.
I thought you were a beehive, but you're vacuuming.
Well, we got the Zambonis going here, so they will be done shortly. So the beehive sound, I think, will be taken care of here momentarily. But wrapping up the Future Stars game here from Ford Ice Center, I caught just the last minute or so of your conversation. I think it was a really good. One of the things I was talking to Chris Mason and Hal Gill about as we wrap things up is they thought it was a really good, hard-nosed game. It wasn't like a nice, easy river hockey game where it was wide open, or like maybe a pickup basketball game where nobody plays any defense. It was a really good, solid game where everybody was trying to play the right way and play with some toughness, and so there wasn't a lot of breakaways and 2-on-1s. But it was a good hockey game, and Derek, the first thing I heard you say, and I agree 100%, two guys that really stood out were the 2 first-round picks, Tanner Molendijk and Matthew Wood. I thought both of those guys were outstanding today, maybe the best 2 guys on the ice.
Willie, now you just mentioned this sort of style of play that those guys were playing. Do you think that was intentionally set up that way so Barry and maybe Coach Bruno could really get a feel for these young men?
That's a really good question. I think coaches want to see you play the right way. Mm-hmm. They want to see you play the way that you have to play in the NHL. And these guys are literally coming from all over the globe. Some guys are coming in from a Finnish league and over there, or a Swedish league. They're playing against older guys on a bigger ice surface. You've got some guys playing college hockey, which has got its own style of play. Then you've got guys from the junior leagues that are only 18 years old that just got picked. So you got a lot of different styles of the way the game is played across the globe, and you're all trying to play the way the Predators want you to play. So I think it's probably an adjustment, Derek. But I think when you want to show that you're coachable and you're trying to play the way that you're going to need to play to succeed in the NHL.
Willie, and bringing up, Andrew Brunette, obviously we're not going to see his true fingerprint and impression on this team for a few months, but just kind of your first impressions of what you've seen him do with the young guys, what you think that his involvement in the game has been like.
Yeah, when you do development camp, the head coaches usually are the ones just sort of observing. They're not as much on the ice working, but they're watching to see who stands out. I'm sure he addressed the young group here at some point, but like for example, he was not behind the bench coaching one of the teams today. He left that to some of the other developmental guys. Okay. But I think he's definitely got his own style. I don't think we're going to see it much make its imprint here as much as we will when training camp gets started. But one of the things that's being asked a lot, and I think it's a good question, is that they rid themselves of a couple of skilled players, right? They moved on from Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene. You brought in a couple of more character guys, but guys who definitely have their own skill set. But I wonder if they're going to be able to, how easily they're going to be able to transition into the way Andrew Brunette wants to play. It's a new group, so it'll be new for everybody. But I wonder how much different it's going to look with who they've got. You've got to coach who you have. In other words, guys, if you don't have a group of high-skilled, up-and-down, crazy scorers, it's hard to play that way, right? They're a little bit less in terms of firepower. Not to say they don't have any, but I'm curious to see what that looks like when they get on the ice in September. But we're not going to find out for a few weeks here.
And last one for you, Willie. I wanted your perspective on this question that D-Mase and I were throwing around before you hopped on, and that is there's probably a whole lot of Predators fans listening thinking, why should I care about this? Like, why should I care about some 18-year-olds that I'm not going to see in a Predators uniform for the next 3 to 4 years? What is your message to those fans who might be thinking that?
Well, if you were at the game last year, you would have seen Luke Evangelista stand out in this game. And he was a guy we were talking about 1 year ago. The other guy that was here at this game that dominated, that everybody was buzzing about, was Juuso Parssinen. Mm-hmm. So for some of these guys, it's not that far of a jump from where they are to wearing a Predators uniform and playing for real. Now, I don't know if there's that guy that played here today. For example, this year, they allowed the Milwaukee players, even the young guys like Joakim Kemmel and some of the other players who played a chunk of the games in Milwaukee. Because Milwaukee played so many games, they allowed those guys to have the summer off and not have to come to development camp. So this is sort of the next wave. So I don't know that I would say there's a guy that's close. The guy that obviously played some games last year was Livingstone. He's a little different case because he hasn't spent that much time around the organization. He went straight from college hockey into the Predators lineup. So he was the oldest guy out here. And as you would hope, I thought he really had a strong game today because you could tell he's just got a lot of more wisdom, strength. He's 4 or 5 years older than some of the guys that he was playing against today, but he looked really good. So that's a guy that I think you might see play some Predator games this year, and he's clearly in Milwaukee's package. But to answer your question, Caroline, I'd just say it. If you watch these games over the years, you go back through who stood out in the games. Forsberg, guys like that. Those guys, Yakov Trenin, I can remember guys like that. They all stood out. Tomasino, Afanasiev. They go from here to the lineup, not too far off into the distance.
And it's a little bit of a peek of what's to come. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the next day, but in a couple of years. And we know that is part of Barry Trotz's plan, is what's to come, not this upcoming season, but the next 2, 3, 4 seasons. And that's what Barry Trotz has obviously done in the moves that he has made over the last couple of weeks. But Barry Trotz might not be done. There are some rumors swirling around the NHL as far as the Predators are concerned, and we will get into that coming up next. And, of course, your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by the News and Sports Sportsbook. It is the only sportsbook in Tennessee with a cash rewards program. Betting just got better. Download their app today.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you an experienced superintendent, project manager, foreman, or estimator? Do you possess a unique perspective that sees problems as valuable opportunities? We are an excavations and site utilities contractor. We are actively seeking skilled superintendents, project managers, foremen, and estimators who embrace challenges with a positive mindset. If you embody this mindset, apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC, build people, move dirt.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429, has a path to a dignified career. Are you a skilled electrician or lineman? Tired of dead-end, low-paying jobs? Local 429 is accepting applications for highly skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, the best training and training the best.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Their brick oven pizza is cooked to perfection, but that's not all they're known for. Try one of their delicious appetizers, salads, fresh calzones, and they have a full bar and dessert. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years, and now a new location in Goodlettsville at 401 Long Hollow Pike. Get half off a $20 gift card while supplies last at thegamenashville.com/deals. After all, life's too short to eat bad pizza.
More than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio for their news, traffic, weather, sports, and a community connection. It's the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. It's critical that we keep AM radio in cars, because when cell and internet services are down, this free emergency service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Stay tuned in for Nashville Sounds Baseball tonight at 6:35 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. The Sounds take on the Columbus Clippers, AAA affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Family Leisure. Word on the street is it's going to be a pretty poppin' first pitch at the Nashville Sounds game tonight. So if you've got tickets, you are not going to want to miss it. And if you don't, you should go get some. Absolute heater on the mound for the first pitch tonight. I can guarantee you that.
Triple digits.
Pushing a hundo on my fastball. Eat your heart out, Paul Skeens.
Did anybody see how the Sounds game ended last night? It was a wacky, wacky game.
The weirdest walk-off I have ever seen. It was crazy. It was absolute craziness at the Sounds game last night.
If just go to the Sounds Twitter and you will see, one of the things you love about baseball is just when you think you've seen everything, something happens that you've never seen before, and that's one I've never seen before.
And the final score is 15-14?
15-14. It was 9-2, and then they fell behind 10-9, and then they had a crazy last inning. In the extra innings, they got 3 runs walked in, and then it's bases loaded. A pop-up about 10 feet in front of home plate that
An easy
drops.
pop-up.
An easy pop-up, and they dropped it. What happened?
And there were 4 who were they playing with last night? Columbus? 4 Columbus players all kind of gathering around trying to get that pop-up, and it just falls in between all of them. Sounds win on a crazy pop-up walk-off. So, yeah, go check out the Sounds Twitter because it was a crazy game last night. But Willy is joining us from Ford Ice Center in Bellevue following the Predators' Future Stars game. And I've kind of said I think that this is more relevant this year than it has been maybe in years past because Barry Trotz has placed such an emphasis on the youth development, on the future of the Nashville Predators. But Barry Trotz has been supplementing the future with stars of the now. And that's proven by bringing in Ryan O'Reilly, by bringing in Gus Nyquist, by some of the moves that Barry Trotz has made over the last week and a half to 2 weeks. But Barry Trotz might not be done. I thought he was, but the rumor mill is rumor milling because David Pagnotta, who is on NHL Sirius XM Radio, and he's also on the fourthperiod.com, he took to Twitter last night and had a little bit of tea, a little bit of rumors about the Nashville Predators. This was David Pagnotta.
Brett Pesce is very much out there on the trade market. Now, we've confirmed he has a 15-team trade list that he would be willing to go to. The Hurricanes are engaged with a few teams, including the Nashville Predators, about Brett Pesce. Now, there was some alignment ahead of the draft. We reported this last week of Nashville and Carolina discussing something involving Brett Pesce. That obviously started to fall through, but those talks have resumed. And there was renewed interest from Nashville to try to make something work and try to get Brett Pesce out of Carolina. So something to keep tabs on over these next few days here as Carolina tries to maneuver their way around the salary cap.
Again, that was David Pagnotta of SiriusXM NHL Radio. Okay, so what do we make of it? The rumors floating around is that Barry Trotz and the Nashville Predators have interest and have had interest since the draft in Brett Pesce, a defenseman from the Carolina Hurricanes.
Well, first of all, let's talk about Brett Pesce for a second. He's played on some amazing defensive gem kind of teams in Carolina. He's a great player. He's also, in my mind, an excellent potential pair with a guy like Roman Josi. He's a little bit more that stay-at-home guy. He's got good skills, but he's really a guy that could play alongside of Roman Josi, I think, and be a great fit. Here's my thought about it is one of the things that Barry Trotz has in front of him, and we've talked about this a lot, he's got the flexibility that a lot of teams don't have. In other words, he's got cap space. He's got a lot of draft picks, so he's got things to trade. He's got the ability to go make a move. And in this market, this year only, this is the last year because next year the cap goes up. So you have some teams that maybe would otherwise have a big interest in Brett Pesce, but they can't really get into the sweepstakes because they don't have the fees. They don't have the cap space. They don't have the draft draft picks. They don't have the prospects. Barry Trotz has all of that. So you're sitting there going, well, my team might be 2 or 3 years away from being really good, but is there an opportunity to go get a guy right now that I won't have the opportunity to go get in the coming years because everybody else is going to have more cap space? So I think you're looking to try to take advantage of that. Plus, Brett Pesce is a guy that I think would be worth that next investment if you trade for him. You would have him for this year at $4-point-something million, and then you'd be looking to extend him and keep him around, I would think. The question is, what would you have to give up to get him? So you heard David Pagnotta there. He said he's got a 15-team no-trade clause, right? So that wipes out 15 teams right there. So there's 17 teams left. And so, guys, let's just guesstimate. How many of those 17 teams would have an interest?
It depends on – because I have to think that a good bit of those 17 teams are probably contenders that don't have a lot of cap space. Let's go Toronto maybe being one of them, if that's on the list.
That's a great question. So let's just guesstimate at how many how many though it would be. Maybe let's just say there's 5 or 6 teams that might fall into that category that are eligible to trade for him but don't have the space. They've already kind of got their team, right? So that's one group. And then the other group might be a bunch of teams that just they're not contending, right? They're not maybe it's a Chicago or an Anaheim that's not looking for a player like that right now. So you might be in a group of, I don't know, only 7 or 8 or 9 teams that would even have a chance to do it. But, see what I'm saying? So you might be able to get them a less expensive than otherwise.
But don't you think that, it's not a one-year deal. It can't be a one-year deal if you're bringing him in. It has to be a situation where you bring him in and then y'all are potentially working on a long-term deal because he's young enough. What is he, 28, 29 years old, defenseman? He's young enough where you can see him, if things work out the first year, you can see him as a part of the future moving forward.
I think I think you're probably looking around. That's part of the talks is he a guy that would be interested in signing that next contract? Because you probably don't want to trade for a guy for just 1 year, especially where the Predators are. If it was a win-now thing, then maybe it would be something you'd look at. But I think you're looking long-term, and so that's part of the equation. And Brett Pesce is such a good player, he's going to get a raise off of that 4-point whatever. But you think about what kind of decor you would have then if you went down this road. Yossi, Pesce, McDonough, and then all of the other guys they have with Carrier and Fabro. And you might have a defenseman going back the other way in a trade, but that would be a pretty deep decor that you could have for the next 3 or 4 years. A really good group to put in front of UC Saros as a lot of the young forwards come along.
Here is my thing about Brett Pesce. To your point, Willie, you probably won't have to give up a ton to go get him. One, because he has the no-trade clause. 2, because Carolina needs to open up cap space. Carolina's looking to add more offensive firepower. So when Barry Trotz knows that and understands that, he can say, well, hey, you need to get rid of him more than we need to acquire him, so I'm not going to break the bank in order to go get him. But my thing with Brett Pesce is, one, you can get him with 1 year on his current deal, but in year 2, or I guess after this season, are you wanting to commit yourself to a longer-term deal worth at least $6+, if not $7 or $8 million a year? Is that the direction that this team is going? And it doesn't feel like it is.
But remember, he's only, 28, 29, Pesce, at this point. So the way he plays, you might be, if you think he's a special player, and he's a darn good player, you might be worth, that's what it takes to get guys like that. So if he's worth that, then I think that's why you would be interested in looking at a deal like that. Because he would be hopefully there for the entire process, the rise back up to contention, and then when you're ready to contend, there's a guy that's played a ton of playoff games and plays really, really solid hockey.
Fair point. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Mark Borowiecki has assumed a new role with the Nashville Predators, and he has seen firsthand what's going on at the Predators Future Stars game. He will join us coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The spring menu is here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel, featuring their signature cast iron pie with herb roasted chicken, English peas, carrots, potato, simple greens, and a toasted biscuit crumble topping. Or garden succotash with snap peas, black-eyed peas, roasted peppers, sweet corn, tomato, and caramelized onion. Or try the steak fritas with pan-seared ribeye. Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel, open daily till 2 with brunch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 till 2.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase is brought to you by the New Zen Sportsbook, the only sportsbook in Tennessee with a cash rewards program. Betting just got better. Download their app today. Predators just wrapped up the Future Stars game, and joining us now is former Predator, who has now assumed a new role, is Mark Borowiecki. Mark, appreciate you for joining us and appreciate your time. You've transitioned from an on-the-ice role to now the Predators pro development coach. What has that transition been like for you?
Well, first off, just thank you for having me on. I appreciate the time and the invite.
Absolutely.
And it's been fun for me. Obviously, anytime your whole life is dedicated to something, the way athletes are, it can be a little bit unsettling, a little bit jarring, transitioning into a new role. And I've been quite fortunate to be able to transition quickly. And the organization's offered me a lot of support, a lot of opportunity. I think just for me, the big thing is just keeping busy, right? Your life is so structured as an athlete. You train, you eat a certain way, you sleep a certain way, and then to all of a sudden just kind of be cut loose. Again, it can feel like you're untethered a little bit. So to be able to kind of have a role now and a bit of a purpose, I'm pretty grateful for it.
Mark Borowiecki is with us. And kind of going back a couple of months ago when you made the decision to retire from your professional playing career, like you said, I can't imagine that was an easy decision to make. But what was that decision like for you? What kind of the little checklist that you went through in your head whenever you ultimately decided to hang up the skates?
Yeah, I'd had a pretty good inclination even prior to that last injury, that last concussion, that, I was going to potentially make this my last season. We had our third young child. I had a pretty long, fulfilling career. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I had a pretty long, fulfilling career. Obviously, with the way I played, the style I played, you kind of rack up some miles, not just physically, but mentally too. So, when that injury did happen, the first little bit I trained hard. I did my best to kind of get up to a place where I needed to be to recover and get back in the lineup. It wasn't really happening, regardless of what I did. So, ultimately, the decision for me came down to being able to do my number one job, which for me is being a husband and a father to the best of my ability. And, risking kind of cognitive health from compounding concussions, I'm not sure that would have allowed me to do that. So I had to kind of make a bit of an adult decision, a bit of a big boy decision, and realize that my first and foremost responsibility is to my children and my wife. So that was kind of the big deciding factor for me.
We're talking Mark Borowiecki's pro development coach for the Nashville Predators. Now, Mark, do you approach your new role, and do you ever, in this new role, do you reflect back to your days as a young pro and sort of see the game through their eyes as you're developing them, help developing them?
Absolutely. I think that's honestly the most important thing is not losing that perspective. I think when you're out of the game, you can kind of get wrapped up into the new side of things, whether it's the management side of things, the coaching side of things, and I think you can tend to just naturally sort of lose sight and lose touch, and sort of lose that perspective on what it's like you said, being a young pro. I mean, it's a stressful job. It's a results-driven business, and a lot of these guys are 20 years old. I mean, I think back to when I was 20, it's tough to be able to deal with adversity. I think for me, being able to kind of relate to them, sort of relay shared experience, previous experience, make them feel comfortable around me, sort of grow that organic relationship. And then from there, maybe do a little bit of teaching. I think that's the most important thing for me.
Now, the two first rounders I was about to say the Titans, excuse me, that the Predators drafted this year, Molendijk and Woods. How did those guys look today?
I thought they were fantastic. Tanner Molendijk, he's a defenseman, so I actually spent a little more time with him throughout camp, too, in kind of smaller group sessions that were split up based on position. Tanner's skating is just such a pleasure to watch. I mean, selfishly, as an athlete, an ex-athlete, sometimes I just wanted to sit back and just watch him skate. He's just so efficient. He moves so well, and I think anytime you can skate like that, especially as a defenseman in today's game, you're really setting yourself up for success. I was really impressed with the questions he asked. He was very engaged, very invested. I didn't spend quite as much time with Matthew Wood, just because obviously he was split up with the forwards and the forward development coaches. But from everything I heard, he was also much the same way in terms of his attitude, invested, engaged. He seems like a really bright kid. He's at University of Connecticut. He seems like he really places emphasis on his smarts and his intelligence. Watching him today in the game, he's a big body. He protects the puck well. You can tell he knows that he can protect the puck well too, and he plays to those strengths. So all in all, seeing the work that our scouts put into the draft, into making these picks, I think they just did a fantastic job. I think these two guys are going to be cornerstones of this franchise.
We're talking to Mark Borowiecki, who is now on the job, back in the fray with player development for the Nashville Predators. Boro, it's great to talk to you here. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us here today. Anybody else jump out at you? I thought it was an interesting game. Sometimes these games can be a little higher scoring, wide open. I thought it was pretty well played on both ends of the ice. Not a ton of huge scoring chances. You had to earn the ones that you got. Well played game. Who else stood out to you?
So I was on the bench with the blue team. So I was focused on my guys a little more. Up front for me, two of our Europeans that we drafted from this draft class, Kiskinen and Nielsen. I mean, I thought the world of guys out there, both very, very intelligent and work ethic and skill set to match it. I think anytime you can kind of add those three things together, it's a pretty good recipe for success. Guys who can kind of figure out problems, whether it's on ice or off ice. They have the intelligence for that. They carry themselves like players. They have the skill set on the ice, plus they have the work ethic. Those guys really stood out for me. Another guy in the back end from this past draft class for me was Dylan McKinnon.
Oh, we may have lost Mark Borowiecki. We'll work to get him back.
Oh, did you lose me?
Oh, there you are.
We lost you just for a second there.
Okay.
You were talking about
Sorry.
McKinnon.
Yeah, I was just saying Dylan McKinnon, he's a bit of a throwback, and I just think he's a lot different than anything else we have within the organization in terms of his profile and his skill set. So I was pretty excited to get a chance to work with him, too.
What did you think of Ryan Ufko? He's a guy that, if you're just looking for skill and skating, boy, he had the puck a lot. He made some really nice passes out there. He looks very creative, and we know what he's been doing behind the scenes with the World Juniors and everything like that. What does he need to work on to get to the next level?
I thought he had a strong game too. Ryan just has this kind of like quiet stoicism about him that I think is going to lend well to being a pro and making that transition out of college. His skating is fantastic. His offensive instincts are fantastic. I think he does a good job sort of managing his physical attributes. He knows what his strengths are, and he can play pretty efficiently. I think it's just cleaning up smaller things for him. He worked really hard. We spent a lot of time emphasizing being aggressive with our angles as defensemen, setting aggressive gaps. You could see that he tried that a bunch in the game, got beat once. This is the time to get beat and learn from it. That's that next transition kind of for an undersized defenseman moving up to the pro level. How do I defend with my legs and my feet and not just raw physicality? And I think it's going to be a great learning curve for him.
Before we let you go, Boro, I think a lot of the fans would love to hear your perspective as you were sort of around the group, sort of behind the scenes, as things were happening down the stretch. A lot of those young players, some of which we were talking about, played in this game last year, like Parsonen and Evangelista. What was it like watching that group, try to get their feet wet and have a certain amount of success, still with things to try to accomplish?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think anytime you can learn on the job like that and in fairly high-pressure, high-stakes situations, like, we were still pushing for a playoff spot. It's not like we were kind of in the basement there playing meaningless hockey. And I think, in terms of development, I don't know if you can put a value on that. It's just so important for these guys to play meaningful hockey. I think you see a lot of organizations who get stuck in this perpetual rebuild. When the time comes for their guys to actually play in meaningful games, they haven't had that exposure. And it's just such a different animal, a different beast playing in high stakes situations. And for our guys to get that so early in their development curve in terms of being NHL players, I think it was really important for them.
Mark Borowiecki is with us. Mark, last one for you. What has been your first impression of Andrew Burnett in the short period of time that you all have worked together?
Yeah, awesome. I mean, for me, you sort of have this instant connection with ex-players. I think the way they see the game, the way they see life, kind of the ups and downs, the battles, the grinds they've been through, there's some shared experience there. So to be able to kind of connect with him has been great. He's a very, very forward-thinking coach, which I think this game needs. We tend to recycle coaches in our game, and to get kind of a fresh perspective, a fresh mindset in, some new ideas, someone who can also grow with a young group in terms of his experience and their experience. I think it's just going to be a really good fit.
Mark Borowiecki, new Predators pro development coach. Appreciate your time. Congratulations on this new role.
Thank you for having me on, guys. I appreciate the time.
All right, great. Thanks. Appreciate you. Mark Borowiecki, appreciate his time and his insight on some of these youngins on the Predator squad. But coming up next, DeAndre Hopkins has broken his silence via social media, and we will get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia,
or the NFL,
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The 2023 Southeastern Truck National, presented by U.S. Mags, Friday and Saturday, July 7th and 8th from 8 to 5 p.m. at the Wilson County Fairgrounds in Lebanon. Come see 1,600 of the nicest GM trucks from all over the country, from lifted to lowered to patina to fully restored original trucks and everything in between. Plus over 60 vendors and 15 food trucks on site. And a special appearance on Saturday by Gears TV's very own Stacey Davis, sponsored by LMC Truck in the brand new Made in Tennessee building. Tickets $20. Children 12 and under are free. The 2023 Southeastern Truck Nationals.
Does this sound familiar? Did your agent provide excellent entertainment with their TikTok videos and constant social media posts about themselves while completely ignoring that you hired them to sell your home? Did they tell you how wonderful they were? How many followers they had? They probably never sold your home, but hey, they did get 15 likes on their selfies. Hashtag my clients love me. Don't let that happen to you. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why the only likes we care about are our clients loving our service. Ask us about our prepay with TJ option and how it can save you thousands. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Seems like everything costs more these days. Food, utilities, medical costs, you name it. But as prices go up, our family budget stays the same. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available. Start saving today at FBHP.com or visit your local Farm Bureau office.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top three quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road.
Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Stone & Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Rebound on the score.
Make every play perfect.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
We're going to win the game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. And hey, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game has the chance for you to win tickets to concerts and sporting events, plus an ultimate staycation that includes Titans tickets, Preds tickets, and a 2-night stay at Opryland Hotel with access to sound waves. Black Tie Moving delivers the Game Summer Ticket Tour. Stay tuned for more details. Can I get a drum roll, please? Because DeAndre Hopkins has broken his social media silence.
What?
Now, this was posted 44 minutes ago on Thread, the new social media network.
There's a new social media network
There's a
that I'm
new
going to have to
social
get.
network that came out last night. It's all the rage. It's like the Zuckerberg Twitter.
Oh.
It's like Twitter, but for Instagram.
Oh, okay. So I need to get Thread then.
Yeah.
How do I get
I'll
Thread?
help you set it up.
Okay,
thank you. I'll help you set it up.
It's somewhere on Instagram you can like click something, I guess. Initially, I thought it was like, go to the sewing shop to get your suit fixed or something, honestly.
Sounds like. Yeah, to get Thread.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what we're using since Thread is in its infancy. What we're using is the past term verb. Like, did DeAndre DeAndre Hopkins thread, like he threaded, he thrawed, perhaps.
Is he threading? I know that's like current. Like, is he
Like
threading
I
at
would
the
be
moment?
currently threading.
Threading, yes.
But
What if
he
you have
threaded-
already threaded? So it would
Threaded?
be threaded.
Throtted,
What if you're going to thread in the future? What you call
and
it?
I'll thread.
Just thread? Is thread? I'm threading and threaded.
I guess so.
Okay, well, we got
DeAndre
we
Hopkins
broke it down.
threaded, and I don't know if he posted this on Twitter too. I'm a big thread girl now, so that's my new go-to social media network. But DeAndre Hopkins threaded and said, "I will retire from football when I'm not a 1,000-yard receiver." With that said, I was on pace for 1,400 yards last year, one significant injury in 11 years. I might be playing till I'm 37 the way I feel, and then the little eye emoji. What do we make of it? DeAndre Hopkins thread.
I don't know what I guess he's just telling you, he's still a 1,000-yard receiver, which, now in this league, that's easier to come by if you're a good receiver, and D-Hop is still a good receiver. Now, is he on the level of the top tier guys, the 4 or 5 guys there are? No, but he's still a good receiver in this league. So if you are a focal point of an offense or one of the focal points, and you want to go to a team that passed the ball, then you should get 1,000 yards as a receiver in this league, as a starting receiver with his abilities. But he just want to remind people that he's still a 1,000-yard receiver, and now he may have to catch 100 balls to be a 1,000-yard receiver, but he's still capable of doing that. And the only reason I say that is because he never really was a speed guy. Mm-hmm. But even now, you see he has totally lost that ability to get downfield. Every catch that he makes now, I think, will be contested catches unless the coverage is blown. Anything down the field will be contested. But, he has to keep it. He has to put it out there that, listen, I still can ball. I don't think anyone ever questioned that, but he had to make sure people understood that he still is a 1,000-yard receiver. And he would have got 1,000 last year.
It just sounds to me, guys, like he's not happy with what offers have come his way. He's kind of wondering why it hasn't happened. He feels the need to say, look, I'm still really, really good. Does that not kind of jump out to you with this? Like it seems very clear.
Spot on, Willie. I think you're spot on with that. And I think that is a very negative thing for the Tennessee Titans, because I feel the same way after reading this thread from DeAndre Hopkins that I felt when I heard Jeremy Fowler on ESPN radio yesterday. This was Jeremy Fowler on the DeAndre Hopkins situation.
So I've been trying to get some updates on that this week, and actually Tennessee's pretty well positioned here. Like, they've kept in contact. They're in it. They want to sign him, so we'll see if they can get to the finish line. New England's still in the mix, too. I would say Tennessee, New England, who hosted him on a visit, are the favorites right now. The Chiefs have still kept in contact. They just don't have any money. I think in a perfect world they'd like to do it. If they could get the Chris Jones extension done, that would open up some cap space. Maybe they could try to get that in the finish line. I just don't see that. They're probably on the periphery right now. So, he's still willing to remain patient closer to training camp, but that doesn't mean something couldn't come together in the next week or two.
Okay, that was Jeremy Fowler on ESPN Radio yesterday morning. Jeremy Fowler was on SportsCenter on Monday. He said, I've checked on this just recently, and I was told the Tennessee Titans are still pretty well positioned here. They're in the mix, and certainly they have a high level of interest from head coach Mike Vrabel. They had a good visit with him a few weeks ago, so they remain in contact, as do the New England Patriots, so both teams are still at the forefront. So Jeremy Fowler said on Monday and on Wednesday on ESPN, all these things that we already know, that the Titans and New England are in the mix, that the Chiefs could be interested, but they don't have any money, that DeAndre Hopkins is going to take his time. We already knew all of those things. In addition to this thread from DeAndre Hopkins, I think that D-Hop and his people are doing everything in their power to continue to push this story to the forefront of everyone's minds because they're not happy with the offers that they've gotten. Either that or DeAndre Hopkins doesn't want to go to New England or to Tennessee. That's the only reason that I can think of Jeremy Fowler recycling information that we already know, not just once, but twice across 2 different platforms on ESPN. It's why DeAndre Hopkins is posting on Thread, hey, by the way, I'm still a 1,000-yard receiver. Hey, last year I was on pace for 1,400 yards. I've only had 1 injury. You aren't just going to get me for 1 year. I've got 10 years left in me that you can have me for 4, 5, 6 more years at a very high level. I think that D-Hop and his people are getting incredibly impatient, that the agent has been talking to Jeremy Fowler like, hey, push this story, push this story. I even heard Jeremy Fowler today on Get Up talking about things that each AFC South team can improve upon. And he mentioned the Titans in the passing game, and he said, but they might get DeAndre Hopkins. He wasn't asked about DeAndre Hopkins. He brought up DeAndre Hopkins on his own accord. So I think that is Jeremy Fowler and D-Hop's people kind of chatting behind the scenes saying, can we continue to bring this story to the forefront of everyone's minds to maybe push the interest over of another team that could have, 1, a better offer financially, or 2, a better offer with the product on the field. I think this is bad for the Titans because this tells me D-Hop doesn't have any interest in coming here, or else he wouldn't feel the need to be pushing all of this stuff.
Well, he will if there's no other offer. I mean, that's where I think you really have to stick to your sticker price. Like, how do you value the player? You make what's a fair offer, and then you stick to it. I do wonder if, because I agree with you 100%, Caroline. He's trying to see if he can get another wave of teams that's saying, maybe we do need to look at this again. But I don't know. I don't know how much that works. Maybe it's probably worked for somebody in the past. I don't know what other teams would be in there that haven't had all kinds of time to look at this and decide as well. So it's going to come down on what the offer is. He can wait it out, but to me, I think if you're the Titans, you just stay with it, and you have to be willing to not get him at the end of the day at the expense of going too high and overpaying. To me, that would be the worst case. You overpay, and he's not the player that you hoped he would be, and now you're out a lot more money.
Well, I don't think the Titans are going to overpay. I think there's potentially a contract on the table. I think they're going to stick with their number. I'm sure they believe their number is fair. And when Fowler said, well, the Titans are in position, yeah, they are in good position, but it doesn't mean that they're on the leaderboard. They're in good position if DeAndre Hopkins choose to sign with them.
They're in good position because they're only 1 of 2
exactly,
at the party.
Absolutely, and they need receiver help, and they're willing to pay up to a certain amount. And it doesn't seem like whatever they are offering D-Hop, he hasn't completely turned away from it. There's still some interest, and it could be the same way with New England. There's still some interest. Now, New England possibly could have cleared up some cap with the moves that they've made, just in case they have to possibly, throw a couple of more dimes in there to sort of push the contract or push the, the transaction over the edge.
Make it a little sweeter.
Exactly, absolutely. So, and I'm sure the Titans possibly do that if they need to? There's a possibility, but who would they go to? I think D-Hop is truly waiting on another team. Now, Kansas City has always sort of been on the outside looking in, like, okay, we're just going to monitor it. Do we need him? No, but we sure would like him. And the only way we can make this deal a reality is if we redo other deals that we have, and more importantly, the Chris Jones deal. If they can get the Chris Jones deal done, they can then, lower their cap and then possibly give DeAndre Hopkins close to the money he wants. Because what we got to understand, and we talked about this last week, there's a tax for New England and Tennessee.
The non-contender tax.
Yeah, the non-contender tax. So you got to pay that tax. Well, Kansas City doesn't have to pay that tax because they are a legitimate contender. They just won the Super Bowl. They have the best quarterback in the National Football League, the best tight end, the best play caller. This is a team that is set up to win another Super Bowl this upcoming season or the seasons after that. So they're not going to have to pay the high premium to a D-Hop that maybe the Titans or New England or another team that is sort of, maybe we'll make the playoffs, maybe we won't, but you can come here and possibly catch a lot of footballs. Well, I'm at a point in my career where, I want to catch some footballs, but I want to win a Super Bowl too. So if if Kansas City can get that deal done with Chris Jones prior to camp starting or like a week into camp, don't be surprised if D-Hop then pivots to a team like Kansas City, because now not only can we pay him close to, or we may be able to pay him what he wants, but more importantly, we got the quarterback and we're the team that many are picking to once again win the Super Bowl.
Wes is in Hermitage and is on the line with a thought on DeAndre Hopkins. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's up, Wes?
Hey, happy Thursday. Yeah, happy Thursday. Real quick before I get to DeAndre Hopkins, I just want to say, as a Atlanta Braves fan, I really, truly hope that all the Mets and Cardinals fans enjoy the MLB season, because I sure am.
Oh, come on, Wes.
But, hey,
Good grief.
I can't stand the Mets.
Pick a guy
or the
when he's
Cardinals.
down. Pick a girl when she's down. What is going on?
I understand. It just had to be said.
I've enjoyed my 11 World Series. So that'll keep me warm at night.
My hands are getting heavy over here. Too many rings.
I've got a baseball signed by John Smoltz and Maddox and all of them. I've been a long Braves fan, so this is really entertaining. But yeah, as far as LeBron James, goodness, DeAndre Hopkins, his threading. I think that's a message for everybody. I think that's him basically saying, "Hey, teams, I'm still out here. I'm legit. Please, if I have to, I will go to the Patriots or I will go to the Titans, but I don't want to be there. I'm a good receiver. I know that there's a good team that could use me. Please don't make me go to one of these two teams." That's the way that I see that he's putting this out there.
Thank you for your call, Wes.
Thank you, Wes.
Honestly, I agree. I don't see any other reason why DeAndre Hopkins would basically be, putting this out there on Thread, and Jeremy Fowler would be talking about DeAndre Hopkins with every single opportunity that he could get, if this wasn't basically a cry for help in the strangest way of, all right, it's July 6th, time's a ticking, training camp start in 2-3 weeks, I need to make my decision. I'd like a few more options out there. That's honestly all that I can really hypothesize as to what's going on with D-Hop. But let's continue to get your thoughts on this. 615-737-1025. Again, DeAndre Hopkins took to Thread, said, "I'll retire from football when I'm not a 1,000-yard receiver. With that said, I was on pace for 1,400 yards last year. One significant injury in 11 years. I might be playing till I'm 37 the way that I feel." How do you interpret that? Plus, now that this has gone on as long as it has, now that it seems like DeAndre Hopkins is looking for a sweeter deal, what does that mean the Titans do next? Get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories. I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach. All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, time to tell you about Loan Pronto over here at Fordyce. If you're drowning in credit card debt or you're looking around going, man, I have got to try something different here and get our financial game in a different direction. If you want to get cash out of your home's equity, Loan Pronto can get you that in less than a week. And you could take that cash in a short period of time and then attack the credit card bills, the other bills that might be piling up that have higher interest rates. You don't have to mess with your primary mortgage. If you're a homeowner, keep that 3% rate intact. Keep that intact. Don't mess with it. But you can tap into the equity and then pay off all those other things, because you can have $50,000, $100,000, whatever it is you need in 5 days or less, or as little as 5 days, I should say. So call Loan Pronto now and find out more about the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You know why insurance companies use all those cute and funny characters? To distract you from realizing you're only getting one option. If you want to compare prices, you're forced to visit multiple websites just to get one quote at a time. But not with Zander Insurance, because they work for you. Zander is a broker that shops dozens of top companies to find the best competitive rates for the coverage you need, and they keep reviewing your policy every year to make sure you're getting the best value. They're always available to answer questions, handle problems, and make sure that when it comes to insurance, your life is simple and hassle-free. You even have direct access to their senior management team. If your current company or agent doesn't do this much for you, let Zander Insurance help. Compare rates online at Zander.com or call 800-356-1780 for that personal touch. When Zander works for you, you're going to see the difference. Again, that's 800-356-1780, or you can visit Zander.com with no characters needed.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville, or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Back in 1949, Dr. Houston began the tradition of treating athletes for common sports injuries. Today, the sports medicine physicians at Houston Clinic Orthopedics continue his legacy. Whether you play at school, in a league, on a professional team, or just enjoy being active, Houston Clinic Orthopedics physicians are there to help you stay in the game. Common sports injuries include tears, strains, sprains, and instabilities of the knee, shoulder, and ankle. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is located where you work and live. Visit tn.houston.com to book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, this week's Nashville's best deal is Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for over 7 years, and they have added a brand new Goodlettsville location at 401 Long Hollow Pike. Their brick oven pizza is cooked to perfection, and right now you can get a half off a $20 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last. We have the latest in the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes and D-Hop watch. D-Hop took to Thread, the new Zuckerberg Twitter, said, "I'll retire from football when I'm not a 1,000-yard receiver. With that said, I was on pace for 1,400 yards last year, one significant injury in 11 years. I might be playing till I'm 37 the way that I feel." I think we all agree. This is almost like a cry for help from DeAndre Hopkins of, please, somebody, give me a better offer because I don't like what I've gotten from New England and Tennessee. Personally, I don't think this is a good sign for the Tennessee Titans, but let's get your thoughts on it. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe is on the line with a thought on D-Hop. What's up, Joe?
Hey, first off, great show today, guys. I actually work in the office. I'm working from home right now, and I heard about the D-Hop thread this morning. So my opinion is that whenever a professional athlete get on social media to tell you he's got life left in him, it seems as though maybe he doesn't have life left in him. I don't know, because there's Damian Lillard stuff going on right now. We all know when, like, OBJ's dad went all over social media and Twitter, right? Like, for him. So, I don't know. When stars start doing this, I just get concerned that it's not, they don't have anything left. What do you guys think?
Yeah, thanks for your call, Joe. I think it might be more so of either a response to something that D-Hop explicitly heard, or maybe just waving the flag of, hey, don't worry about me. Like if hey, Kansas City Chiefs, hey, Buffalo Bills, if what you're concerned about is that I don't have enough left in me, I can assure you that I, in fact, do. I think D-Hop still got something left in the tank. He's not D-Hop of what he was 4 or 5 years ago, but he still can be an impactful player. Yeah,
just he's a volume catcher. And a team has to be willing, if they want that type of production, he's going to have to be a high-volume guy. He's going to have to be a 90-catch guy in order to get that, over 1,000 yards because of where he's at in his career. Again, he's not your typical down-the-field threat. He's never been that speed guy, but he has this innate ability to catch just about anything within his catch radius, and sometimes out of it. So that's what he's going to have to rely more on this year and moving forward. Because the ability to sort of run by someone or position yourself to get past someone, it may not be there anymore. So you're going to start to see, as you saw the last year in Arizona, even though it was just a 8-game, 9-game sort of sample somewhere around
9
there.
Games.
Yep.
He's more of he's a hybrid tight end now. He's a guy that he's not going to flex out wide, more than likely. You're going to have to motion him down. You're going to have to put him in bunch. You're going to have to, put him in the middle of the field as a slot receiver. But he's going to be sort of that catch it at 5, catch it at 8, get you a first down, may be able to get you a couple of yards, may break one because of some missed tackles here and there every now and then. But he's a guy that I see averaging anywhere between 8 and 11 yards per catch. He's just going to be a guy that you rely on to catch the ball in critical situations, whether it be in the red zone or when you need a first down. But he's not going to be a game breaker anymore. I don't believe that. But he's still a good receiver in this league.
But he's going into a different stage of his career. As you're pointing out, D-Mase, he's not a spring chicken. And when you get to this age, your conditioning is everything, and you've got to prove that you can keep doing it. And I love his goal, right? It's natural for him to have this feeling that I can still play. I'm going to play till I'm 37. All that. Saying it is one thing. Believing it is one thing. But then are you also doing the extra work that you have to do physically to stay in the kind of shape you have to be, to keep pushing the envelope and working harder to stay in the game? That's, to me, the question that we're not going to be able to know. So I think you have to stick to what you evaluate right now. But it's natural for him to be frustrated. One of the things we talked about right after he was released is, and this was about a month ago or so, when we looked at what OBJ got from the Ravens, you knew DeAndre Hopkins was going to look at that and say, I've been better than that guy. That guy didn't even play at all last year. I played 9 games. He didn't play. He played 0 games, and he got $15 million. I'm just as good or better than that guy. I know that's got to be frustrating for him, but this is the market right now, and he can say it all he wants, but I don't know if it's going to really change the market. Only time will tell here, but the clock's ticking.
And that's the difference between the OBJ contract and what DeAndre Hopkins is currently going through. Is the Ravens needed Odell Beckham Jr. They needed him to repair the relationship, or at least start to repair that relationship between the organization and between Lamar Jackson. There's not a circumstance out there, and it sounds like both the teams that have offers on the table aren't willing to give DeAndre Hopkins that offer, to overpay, so to speak, for DeAndre Hopkins. Because I have to think that if that offer was on the table, DeAndre Hopkins would have taken it. It's something that's been reported ad nauseum. I know I know for certain it's been reported. I could slow my mind who it was. But that's what DeAndre Hopkins was looking for, was that Odell Beckham Jr. kind of contract. I don't think that that's on the market for DeAndre Hopkins. But should the Titans pivot their approach with DeAndre Hopkins? I want to get into that coming up next. And, of course, your thoughts as well, because we've got them lining up in our text line. 615-737-1025. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by the new Zen Sports Sportsbook, the only sportsbook in Tennessee with a cash rewards program. Betting just got better. Download their app today. 1025-1063 The Game.
The offseason is in full swing, but there's no slowing down ESPN's Teron Davenport.
The flow of information.
He talks the talk.
Spears gives you that guy that can still hit the home run.
And walks the walk.
As a run blocker, he's going to murder a linebacker at the second level.
On everything Titans, TD is on Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast. TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Thursday, everyone. It's D-Mase for Zen Sports, the new sports book in Tennessee that brings the cash back to Nashville, or should I just say Cashville. Zen Sports is revolutionizing the way you earn sports betting rewards. On Zen Sports, what you see is what you get, and there's a lot of cash rewards program, okay? You can get a lot of cash. Did I say a lot of cash? Absolutely. For a welcome bonus, earn an unlimited 5% cash back on your betting volumes for your first 15 days when you sign up with the code D-Mason. That's D-M-A-S-O-N. That's right. Unlimited 5% cash back. Keep betting and keep earning with up to 3% cash back on your betting volume every month after that. And refer friends to earn a percentage of their betting volume as cash rewards as well. Zen Sports is bringing the cash back to Tennessee. So if you bet big on sports, you want to be betting on Zen Sports. Check it out. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older in Tennessee to bet. Gambling problems, call 1-800-889-9789. That's Zen Sports. Betting just got better.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Do I need Medicare when I turn 65, or can I wait?
With more than 70 years of experience helping Tennesseans, Farm Bureau Health Plans can answer all your questions about Medicare.
Part A, B, C, D, it's all alphabet soup to me.
So if you're looking for an affordable way to cover the gaps left by Medicare or protection from the high cost of prescription drugs, you can plan on us to make it easy. Find out more at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
On July 22nd in Nashville, Tennessee, 4 men will compete in one boxing ring. Only one winner will be declared. Who will be the last man standing in the first ever Survivor Tag? KSI's Misfits Boxing is coming to Nashville. That's right, Misfits and DAZN are bringing Misfits 008 to the Nashville Municipal Auditorium, including some of the biggest names in the crossover and celebrity boxing space. The night will be packed full of action, including the first ever tag team boxing match in the U.S. Fighters on the night include gun expert Brandon Herrera, fan favorite B-Dave, political activist Alex Stein, chart-topping rapper Swarms, lightweight champion Dean the Great, former BKFC champion Alan Belcher versus Hasim Rahman Jr., and many, many more. Misfits 008 tickets are available now, starting at $20 from Ticketmaster.com.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear ContiTech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE, 615-895-HOSE.
For more than a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community.
In their car, at home, or on the job, more than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. AM radio is also the backbone of the emergency alert system, which keeps us safe in dangerous times. It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025, The Game.
So I've been trying to get some updates on that this week, and actually Tennessee's pretty well positioned here. Like, they've kept in contact. They're in it. You know, they want to sign them, so we'll see if they can get to the finish line. New England's still in the mix, too. I would say Tennessee, New England, who hosted him on a visit, are the favorites right now. You know, the Chiefs have still kept in contact. They just don't have any money. I think in a perfect world they'd like to do it. If they could get the Chris Jones extension done, that would open up some cap space. Maybe they could try to get that in the finish line. I just don't see that. They're probably on the periphery right now. So, you know, he's still willing to remain patient closer to training camp, but that doesn't mean something couldn't come together in the next week or two.
That was Jeremy Fowler on ESPN Radio yesterday morning. The latest in the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. We heard that from Jeremy Fowler on ESPN Radio. He reiterated a very similar report on SportsCenter on Monday, basically just repeating everything that we already know and have known for like a month. That it's the Titans and the Patriots are the leaders in the clubhouse because those are the only two teams with offers on the table. That DeAndre Hopkins is going to take his time. We knew that. We've known that. DeAndre Hopkins took to Thread today, new social network. He posted an hour ago, "I'll retire from football when I'm not a 1,000-yard receiver. With that said, I was on pace for 1,400 yards last year. One significant injury in 11 years. I might be playing till I'm 37 the way that I feel. I emoji." All of this considered, what Jeremy Fowler said on ESPN Radio, what DeAndre Hopkins is putting out on social media, I think that DeAndre Hopkins is waving his arms in front of the faces of the 30 other GMs who haven't put an offer on the table, and he is looking for something a little bit sweeter. So my question to you two is, at this point, should the Titans sweeten the pot? Should they pivot their approach with DeAndre Hopkins and get it done, maybe offer up more money? Because clearly D-Hop isn't happy with what's on the table.
Man, you know, it just depends. Where are you as an organization? How much, you know, not necessarily emphasis, but how much do you believe he will change your franchise this season? And then potentially, how does he change it moving forward? Because to me, this can't just be a one-year deal. It can't be. With whoever signs him, it has to be a multi-year signing. Whether
And that might be what he's looking for.
or three. Yeah,
Which
that
is why
could be
he's
what
pushing that, hey, I still got enough left. I could play till I'm 37. He could be pushing for more term.
Exactly. So if that is indeed the case, I think the Titans, you know, you stay put until you find out that there's other suitors. Because D-Hop will tell you if there's other suitors, or a Fowler will tell you, or Rossini will tell you if there's.
We know Diana will tell us.
Diana will tell us if there's other suitors. So I think right now, as the Titans sit, they don't need to go anywhere in regards to their price, what they're willing to pay. Now, if more teams sort of, you know, start entering that building, then you may have to up your price a little bit. But I think right now, they don't have a reason to up their price because it's just them in New England. That's it.
Look, the money is spent by most of the teams. I don't see where teams are going to go back in. Oh, I'm sorry, DeAndre. Now that you said you really want us to take a look, we've gone back and we've found $10 extra million. I mean, everybody's got their budget, and they've had ample time to research and evaluate whether they want to make an offer to him. I would really think it's unlikely that you get somebody coming out of nowhere. The one thing that Fowler said there that could be the X factor is if the Chiefs free up some money, because I think the interest has been there. Unless there's a team that has been secretly and just not saying anything indicating any interest and then makes a move to free up money, that's the only scenario I can see, and that's not likely to happen. So I don't change my philosophy at all. And he can say he wants more term, but D-Mase, how often do you say this? Look, when you get to 31, it is year to year. You can talk about term, but the reality is they could give you a 5-year contract, but after the first year, they're going to reevaluate.
Yeah.
And it's year to year for the most part. So he's just facing the cold reality of the NFL salary cap. And as great as he is, once you get to this stage, it's not quite the same as it was the last go-round for his last contract. So I stick to my guns if I'm the Titans. My offer is my offer, and I'm going to hope that he ends up filtering to me at the right price.
Well, he has to understand that, and I've always said this, the way that a player of his caliber, a guy that has been highly productive basically his whole career, they look at themselves a certain way, and then, everybody else looks at them their way. He has to understand that maybe, just maybe, and he's trying to convince teams now, listen, I still got it. Still 1,000-yard receivers. I'm not going to, cause a fuss in your receiver room. Don't worry about it, receivers. I will make y'all better. Don't worry about it. He has to understand that he may not be in that place, but he's trying to remind people that he potentially still is, because what you think about yourself is totally, as you start to get there up in age, what you think about yourself may be totally different from what teams may be thinking about you. And, for him, it's just this last 2 years for him has been bad. It hasn't been good for him in regards to, the potential of other suitors. Why? He was suspended. He ended the season injured. This whole back and forth with the Cardinals and how all of that ended up happening. He hasn't been able to put himself in the sort of right best foot forward scenario, because, you get suspended, you get hurt, you're coming off a season where you're averaging, I think, 10 yards of reception. The efficiency is not there.
Yeah.
So you're in a bad place right now. You may think in your mind, I still got it, but teams are looking at film and they're looking at, the paper, and they're like, man, he's a good receiver, but he doesn't have it like he used to anymore. And I don't think those two things have connected with DeAndre, because he's still, and I don't blame him. He's still trying to get teams to sort of come to his side of thinking, and more or less.
I struggle with what I think the Titans should do from here. Because part of me agrees with Willy, and I think, okay, well, if no other team has gotten in the sweepstakes, I don't know how many are going to be really all of a sudden super interested on July 6th, 2-3 weeks before training camp. I know that we've talked a lot about Kansas City getting in on this. Like Jeremy Fowler just said, if Kansas City can find the money. Well, Kansas City had an offer on the table for DeAndre Hopkins. They said $3 million, take it or leave it. DeAndre Hopkins left it. Kansas City drafted a receiver in the second round. I don't know if they view him as their number one guy, but they put a lot of investment, quality draft stock into a receiver in this past year's draft. So why all of a sudden, on July 6th, would the Chiefs come out and say, okay, fine, we had $3 million on the table, here's $13 million. I don't see that happening. So if there's no other offers forcing you to push up your offer and sweeten the pot a little bit, then why do it? But then on the other side, I think, what other choice do you have? If you don't land D-Hop, who's catching balls for you? You hope Treylon Burks takes a step forward. You hope Chigakonkwo builds upon what he showed us in year one. You hope Kyle Phillips can stay healthy, and contribute to this offense. You hope all of those things, but I don't know if those things are going to come to fruition. I can keep my fingers crossed, but I don't know that for certain. So part of me thinks maybe you should sweeten the pot a little bit. Just get the deal done. Secure him, because what other option do you have?
Well, I mean, you have options, but are the options as good as D-Hop.
It's Byron
No.
Pringle.
Yeah. No, the options are not as good as D-Hop, but you have options. But let's remember this, too, as well. There will be guys that get released from their teams within the next month. Let's just say month and a half. And would the Titans prefer to take that route of waiting and see which receivers are going to be released? Because I guarantee you there's going to be veteran receivers released that have had good seasons in this league and that are still productive, still can be productive. Are the Titans willing to wait on that? I don't know. Maybe they want to get a guy in the room right now so he can learn the offense and they can hit the ground running. But again, the Titans, they can't do anything further than what they've already done. Because I as much as I hear you, Caroline, saying, well, push some more chips in the circle. Push some more chips in the circle. But you don't want to push too many chips in the circle, and either you sign them and end up not working out, or you done pushed all these chips in the middle of the table, you still ain't get them, and now you've taken yourself out of position to potentially get another guy that had gotten released that other teams have signed already. So
why would that take you out of position to sign a guy who's been released?
Because if it all depends on how long you're going to wait on D-Hop.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to wait on him throughout camp, then you run the possibility of other guys getting released, because it will happen. Veteran guys will get released, and them signing with other teams, and you're sitting there waiting on D-Hop. And what if D-Hop just decides, oh, well, Kansas City or Buffalo or Minnesota or whoever else came up with some money, so I'm going there. Now you're left holding the bucket with no water in it because you decided to wait on one guy. I don't
think they can wait.
Yeah, my thing is
camp. No way.
You don't push no more money in sort of into the circle, because to me either he's going to sign with you because he know what's already there, or he's not. One of the two. I don't think it necessarily has to do with money. I really don't.
What do you think it's about?
I think it's about him finding a perfect place where he can win a Super Bowl. So he's just holding out until, hoping that will happen, knowing that that's going to be there. New England, Tennessee's going to be there. They have no other. Where else are they going to go? So they're going to be there. I want a team that's going to, offer me a contract that's a contending team, and I will take less money, but that's always going to be there.
We want people who want to be here. Mike Vrabel. So that's why you stick to your guns. If he wants to be there, he'll sign with the Titans. If he doesn't, if what you're saying is true, Derek, he's just waiting until a contender comes along, then Mike Vrabel has his answer. So extra money is not going to change what's deep in his heart. If he feels like this is the best place for him, he'll come here.
We'll pay you pretty good penny to do it too. You pay me $15 million, I'll go anywhere. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll finish up with your D-Hop thoughts coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineup.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
Big time performance, best part of the team.
Chase McCabe 9 to 11.
An unrestricted free agent.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase 11 to 2.
Got the big contract.
The Velvet Touch.
Talk about Hall of Famers. And Stillman and Company 2 to 6. Kept going for it. And don't forget, we're your home for all things Smashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Now through Saturday, save big at the Electronic Express Independence Day sale. Celebrate with up to 40% off in every department. Don't miss a Hisense 65-inch 4K TV for only $349, or a Frigidaire Gallery 4-piece kitchen package for only $21.79. Save on computers, appliances, 4K TVs, and more. Get a Vio laptop for $499, or JBL wireless earbuds for only $99. Get up to 3 years free financing throughout the entire store. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Join Moving Forward and the Nashville Scene Tuesday, July 11th from 5:30 to 7:30 in the evening at Meharry Medical College for a mayoral forum to kick off early voting. Hear Nashville mayoral candidates' plans for improving the rising transportation issues in Nashville, Davidson County. Visit movingforwardmidtn.com today. That's movingforwardmidtn.com to register for free.
Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota LO1 series is part of our tractor lineup, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They feature powerful Kubota diesel engines and easy operation. The durable Kubota LO1 series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House.
Check, check. You might already know about the Acura MDX. V6 engine, seat 7. We have an announcement. We swapped that engine with a specially made 3-liter turbo V6, race-tuned the steering and suspension, and for the first time, added Type S performance to an SUV. So we're just gonna drop this right here. The Acura MDX and first ever MDX Type S. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Experience the thrill at Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of the Nashville Predators. TennesseeAcura.com.
Hey, Jen, sorry I'm late. I had to stop for gas.
Yeah, I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
I know, everyone's still talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, I earn back up to 25 cents a gallon every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
It sure does. I've made over $300 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code CAR3 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code CAR3 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code CAR3 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Breaking down the latest on DeAndre Watch. Jeremy Fowler took to SportsCenter and ESPN Radio, provided a not very timely update, letting us all know that the Titans and the Patriots are the leaders in the clubhouse, but DeAndre Hopkins is going to take his time. Things that we know. DeAndre Hopkins took to Thread.
He's been threading.
He's been threading. He threaded. He throtted. He said, I'll retire from football when I'm not a 1,000-yard receiver. With that said, I was on pace for 1,400 yards last year, one significant injury in 11 years. I might be playing till I'm 37 the way that I feel. I think this is a, hey, Kansas City.
Somebody.
I can still play. Somebody, please. He also threaded, said, I accidentally ate pork for the first time in 8 years because I ordered clam chowder in Boston. Somebody should have told me it's bacon chowder. Nobody cares about your clam chowder, DeAndre. We want to know where you're
just
going.
Pick a team.
Pick a team. Also, what were we doing in Boston? Interesting.
When was that thread sent?
3 hours ago.
Oh. So is he saying... Is he talking from past tense, like I ate pork for the first time when I was in Boston, or is he saying? Or
I'm doing it currently.
He could be in the Hamptons. You know that old white party thing? I think it was in the Hamptons.
Yeah, that was in the Hamptons.
Yeah, so he could be still there.
I don't like it. If he's in Boston, I don't like it. Let's get some of your thoughts on this. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joey from Bellevue Texan says, let the GM and Vrabel learn the hard way. Unfortunately, fans, Henry and Tannehill, will be super frustrated like last season. It isn't fair that to the offense for them to neglect that position after last season.
I don't think they're neglecting it. I just think the Titans are in this sort of weird position where, we just talked about it. They want him on this team, but Vrabel comes off as a coach. Yeah, I may want you, but I don't need you. We're going to offer what we're going to offer. If you want to be here, you will come. But they're in this weird position where, does he, if you acquire him, does he make you better? Yes, he does. But how much does he change what you want to do or what you are going to be able to do as an offense? How much does he change that for you?
I think a good bit.
Well, they're trying to figure it out because, they're not getting a young spring chicken D-Hop, and I'm talking young in football years, not, because he is a young man. But as those injuries start to mount up, it gets harder and harder, and you got to work harder and harder. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and accuse him of anything, but when you get popped for PEDs after an injury, there's something to that. You're trying to do something because you know that your skill set as far as being able to move around is diminishing somewhat. Can you still catch the ball? Absolutely. Just about better than anybody out there. But I can't get that separation that I used to. I don't have that quick, short burst quickness that I used to have. So teams are leery of this. Mm-hmm. Titans may not ever say anything about that, PED, but they're watching it. They understood. Like, listen, that happened for a reason. We're not gonna flat out accuse him of anything, but you got suspended for a reason.
He got suspended, served his time, and I would get it that if you have the privilege of being picky and choosy, that might be that's something that you look at and you say, look, D-Hop, we just don't think that you're the same player that you used to be, and we aren't willing to pay you the money to do that. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that the Titans are in that position to be picky or choosy because they don't have another option.
Well, they got options. Again, I believe Traylon Burks will be a 1,000-yard receiver. I do believe that. I think he's going to be a focal point of what they do in the passing game. I think he's going to show up big for them this season. I think Chris Moore, now that he's getting a chance to play, I think he's going to show up bigger than what people may think. Again, I'm not saying he's sitting here as going to be this 1,000-yard, 1,300-yard receiver, but to me, he's going to have more yardage and more touchdowns than he did prior. I remember, Willy, what was the guy's name that the Titans got from Miami? The receiver that the Titans got at Miami. And he had 3 good, solid years here with the Titans. And they ended up releasing him, and it wasn't a good release. I forget the kid.
How far back are we going here?
We're talking maybe this was before it might have been right at the beginning of Vrabel's term or just before he got there. God,
I know you're talking about Rashard.
Yeah, Rashard Matthews. Yeah, absolutely. Chris Moore reminds me of Rashard Matthews. The more opportunities he get, he proves to you that he can play. Listen, he will probably never be a 1,300-yard receiver, but he's going to be, 8, 9, closer to that 1,000 yards, but he's going to give you 6, 7, 8 touchdowns. He's going to be a key guy at moving the chains. I think this receiving core is going to be a little bit better than what people believe. One, because I think the offensive line is better now. Nicholas, we gotta get on exactly.
We'll see about that.
Absolutely, but I think this offensive line is going to be better, which is going to allow Ryan Tannehill more time to throw the football.
Quick before we go, I need tips from the pro. Willie, I'm throwing the first pitch at the Sounds game tonight. What do I need to do? I'm trying to push a hundo. Fastball right down the middle.
Okay.
Go get somebody else's arm.
Make sure you get a couple
quick
warm-up
Tommy
tosses
John.
in. Get a little warm-up toss in if you can. Behind the scenes, get that arm loose, Caroline. That's the key.
already
Get the
start
blood flowing a
stretching.
little bit. Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
And then remember, point your front shoulder where you want the ball to go. Front
Okay.
shoulder. And then a good, strong follow-through.
So should
Right down the
she
middle.
should give it all she got or just kind of finesse it, Willie?
Well, it depends on how good you feel. If you're warmed up and you're feeling it, then I'd say let it fly. But
All
I
or
have
nothing.
I have tried to do that, and I've gone way high and outside trying to do that. So that's why I say concentrate on the front shoulder and the follow-through.
All or nothing. This is my shot. This is my opportunity. If I show up in a sling tomorrow, y'all know exactly why. That is going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Stillman & Company is up next.
Be love and love on your people. Peace.